combination executed perfectly at the end of the game.
From Alarak, make it a quad kill set up by that ETC.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi line.
Nubrak, core at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be respect the gooses. Oh my goodness.
Ring. Oh my goodness, the ring. Jada just pulling up everybody here. That's a 4, make it 5
And it
for
does
nothing.
not fall up. What a play. Oh my God, somebody please clip that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am Jayzon, and tonight we've got another Division D East match for you live. And I've got Mongoose here with me to cast it. It's been a while, buddy. Good to have you back.
Thanks, man. It has been a hot minute. Happy to ride shotgun and just show up and watch some games. It's the way to do it. Excited to get this one. These two teams pretty close in the standings. So ProBUs at 13 points, Team Banshee at 11, but they've played one less game, so they're almost functionally tied in the standings basically. So it should be a good one.
Yeah, and this is my second night in a row casting the ProBUs Strikes Back. So I'm worried that if they lose again tonight, that they may decide they don't want me to cast for them anymore. I might be jinxing them a little bit, but
the Jayzon curse.
Right? Yeah. But like you said, very even matchup. And last night's games, they were pretty close. So I definitely think this is a formidable team for sure. And as is customary so far in Season 10, I think this has been one of the best placement committee performances that we've seen so far out of any NGS season. You guys are doing a great job over there, and the teams are very competitive all across the board.
For the most part, I'm pretty happy with placement. There's a few outliers here and there, which is honestly a little bit normal and unavoidable.
Sure.
But all in all, pretty happy with it. So excited to see how this one rolls.
All right, so I believe this was Team Banshee winning the toss and selecting first pick. So we're going to see Towers of Doom, the first pick here for the ProBUs Strike Back, which I actually am realizing I need to fix that text figure here on my screen.
Yeah, Towers is probably my favorite map to cast on, just because if you've played or casted for any length of time, you're going to have that game. Actually, my team just had that game in a scrim where we were down 21-1 in core health and came back and won it in a scrim. On Towers, just the games are never over
Right.
until it actually ends.
Yeah, as soon as the shots are flying across the board, then you can say GG, but until then, there's always one more poke, there's always one more stall, there's always the opportunity to come back here on Towers.
Yeah, none of this winning the late game, team fight post 20 and just running to the core and ending. That's just not feasible. There are things you can do, of course, still, but just running to the core and wrecking it is not one of them.
Right. And that's so important on all the other maps. You always have to play a little bit differently when you know that one team fight can automatically mean the team's got the opportunity on the other side to go core. Here, you can calculate it a lot more. You can hedge your bets a lot better.
And can we just say, by the way, how awesome ProBUs Strikes Back logo is?
Yeah.
While we're not talking about it all, because that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like both of these logos. The Team Banshee one is pretty clean. I know a lot of people are mad at Sylvanas right now, but you got to get over your hurt feelings and respect the artwork that went into that.
I just want a ProBUs with a lightsaber.
There you go.
And this is the world we live in, Jay, where first pick Gazlo is a thing.
After a first ban diva, yes.
Yeah, I think those should be swapped, honestly. I don't know why the devs did this thing where they said in the patch notes, oh, we didn't release Gazlo like this because we thought he was overpowered, but he was undertuned, so we're going to put him back like that anyway, even though we thought he was overpowered in the first place. It seems like a poor way to balance.
By the way, Kotu Nas, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. And Majesty already hanging out in the chat. Let's go ProBUs. So there's no I there, by the way. So I gotta be careful on trying to call these guys the right name.
Well, but the B is also capitalized, so you could make the argument that it's pro B.
Be us. You're right. Man, I learn something new every day.
So we have a Mei, a Li Ming, and a Lucio for ProBUs Strikes Back, and a Gazlo Decker. That is a lot of zoning coming out for Team Banshee as they last ban a Sonya here.
Yeah, wanting to dominate in that solo lane, maybe wanting to secure the last real viable, or at least block one of the last viable double soakers. The Malthael is still available, but Gazlo, not necessarily the best double soaker this day and age, but I don't see him being in the 4-man either. I'm very interested to see where Team Banshee takes the rest of this draft.
Yeah, my guess would be Gazlo is going to be in that solo. He's very disruptive. He can, set up on those points early, make sure that Banshee is all ready to rock and roll. You really don't want to fight inside the range of the Gazlo turrets. If he goes Gravel Bomb, there's a lot of spaces on Towers of Doom, kind of corridors onto those bell towers that are just about the right size for Gravel Bomb. So, but I will say, Team Banshee, a little bit on the squish side. Gazlo occupying the bruiser spot as Gul'dan and Cassia come out, leaving the tank for last pick.
Yeah, you almost gotta wonder if that Cassia is an attempt at a stealing pick. Joe already banned out Mei on the other side, so there's not really a whole lot of. There's really no tanks I can think of that are going to supply a blind to really help this Cassia be effective, but it would block the side of the ProBUs Strikes Back from being able to pick it up to pair with the Mei.
Sure, and Cassia also just generally strong, so I don't think it's a bad pick per se. But a lot of CC for ProBUs too. You have the Mei into the tongue and the kind of the old school Li Ming, Greymane, double reset going for ProBUs. So both sides having a solid comp on the board. They have an idea of what they want to do. Team Banshee taking tried and true ETC to round out their squad.
Yeah, that's a Greymane Ming combo, kind of the original reset comp before the Genji came out to really make that super popularized. But now the Genji's fallen a little bit out of the meta. The Greymane Li Ming combo is kind of re-emerged a bit.
Yeah, and I actually really I think I like Banshee's comp a little bit more here. They have a lot of zoning with the Gaz and the Decker, the Horrify for a disengage. I think it's going to be a little bit hard for Greymane in particular to stick on a target in Worgen form just because of the tools that Banshee has. So we'll see how that part of the game goes forward. There's a lot of stuff for him to wade into.
Yeah, for sure. And just in general, like you said, pretty squishy for Team Banshee. As the Gazlo, not super beefy. Even ETC is not well known as being one of the highest health pool tanks. I think it's a lot of his survivability from his abilities and from his mobility. So,
and from the armor that they just nerfed.
Right, so even less beefy. But let's get on in here for game number 1. Towers of Doom on the left. The ProBUs Strikes Back. We've got Hirobi playing the Li Ming. Badger Lord on the Dahaka. The Sa going to be playing the Mei. We've got Mtino. Oh no, Mtino's on the Mei. The Sa looks like he is on Lucio? That is Lucio. That's a strange skin. But and we got Digital Legacy on the Greymane.
And our red team, Team Banshee, MB424, rocking one of the best ETC skins in the game. We have Lunatics71 playing Cassia, Death Omen on the Gul'dan, Zagi on Old Man Decker Kane, and already in the top lane, Jaren173 dropping turrets as Gazlo, and he's already, Jay, on the tower in the top lane.
Right, yeah, just a little bit of Gazlo cheese. Gonna force Badger Lord to rotate up here, and the 4v4 will commence in the mid lane. By the way, right now, Hirobi, after my own hard gear, has gone Aether Walker at level 1 on the Li Ming.
Yeah, if you flash up to this top lane, I think Badger Lord is really going to struggle into this matchup. Ideally, he tanks the waves right as the tower shots are coming in, but I don't think he's going to be able to. He's already at like 30% health. He just can't step out from his walls.
Sure. They're already gonna have to
successfully
use the tap,
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, long term should have the advantage in the survivability department. But we do see the double soak has begun here. Jaren goes down to the mid lane to soak to cover for the rest of Team Banshee, who is currently on their camp. Both teams actually on their camps.
Yeah, both teams really Johnny on the spot, jumping on the siege camp at almost the same time. Team Banshee was just a hair quicker, but not too much. Gazlo is in the mid lane, where he was caught a little bit by Greymane and Ming, gets beaten up a little bit, but able to walk away. And Dahaka still struggling to catch up, but Gaz needs to get up here. There's going to be a wave crashing soon, and I'd like to see Badgerlord catch him in rotation there and disrupt that XP soak, because he could have prevented Gazlo from catching a whole wave in the top.
Could have easily stopped him there. Had enough health to get that job done, no problem. But meanwhile, Sappers are going to be pushed in on bot. Team Banshee going to get a nice chunk off of that bottom bell tower front wall.
Yeah, two teams exchanging pleasantries. One of the things we didn't talk about, Banshee with a pool of heroes that are slightly lower health.
Oof.
As Gul'dan very close there. That does play into the Ming a little bit, right? If Ming gets her resets, she's really, really valuable. And if you can keep Ming from getting her resets, she's very limited, actually.
Yeah, between the Lucio's added mobility for this comp, and look out Gazlo in the mid. Here they come on the rotation. They've got more than enough damage to take out Jaren, and that's going to be first blood going over to the side of the ProBUs Strikes Back. But what I was about to say is all they need to do is be able to really target focus. And with the Lucio Greymane to follow up that poke damage from Li Ming, should be easy to do there, and especially when it's on the flank gank like that, right?
Yeah, and the other things ProBUs can do is they can call in the Dahaka for the brushtalk flank, right? That's the advantage to having Dahaka. And that gank there into mid was really a communication issue. Team Banshee has to communicate to their bruiser player Gazlo that the gank is coming, but ProBUs actually ignoring bottom and going hard onto this top. Greymane is on the top camp. Dahaka has already channeled, but Gazlo being super aggressive. He may have overstayed. He is tongued. He is dead.
Yeah, and that's gonna spark a reset here for Hirobi as they try to start the poke damage. This is a 4v5 now in the top. Sappers picked up top there by Digital Legacy, pushing in that top lane. Amtino getting kind of low, gonna have to pop trait to heal up a little bit, but look at the poke coming in from Death Omen. And big damage to finish it off there as they still get the kill on Cassie on the other side.
Yeah, Badgerlord body blocked Cassie in there. They gave her nowhere to go. She would have actually died much sooner, except for MB424 landed like a tri or quad power slide onto ProBUs that kept them from going on Cassia earlier. Otherwise, that would have gone sideways even faster. 3 unanswered kills for ProBUs.
Yeah, that was a very interesting macro call from ProBUs Strikes Back. That I like it, though. They completely abandoned the bottom lane. They put all 5 of their members in top, even grabbing the camp, because Greymane is able to do that fast enough to get down to the team fight. They sacrificed that bottom bell tower, but they got both of the ones up top, along with kills. Now they're ahead in XP. They're ahead on damage on that top bell tower that they can try and work on later. And again, they are ganking the mid lane here. Gazlo having a rough start to this match.
Yeah, you got to communicate out missing. I think Banshee assumed they would rotate bottom. And they're kind of neutering out the Gazlo advantage against Dahaka by punishing him in that mid lane. And you're right, I really like that top lane call on the bell tower. And it was a good call specifically because they told Greymane to go on the camp. They knew there was 0 chance of Greymane getting the camp and getting all the way to the bottom bell tower, but he could arrive in time on both of the top ones. So really good kind of map awareness by ProBUs.
Yeah, meanwhile, up top, we're going to have our double altar spawn. And we'll have to see how these teams want to rotate to it. Right now, both teams kind of poking at each other as they go up top. The root will hit, though, onto Digital Legacy. But meanwhile, Death Omen taking a lot of damage there. He's going to have to heal up before this phase.
Yeah, so Dahaka is going to be here. It is going to be a 5-on-5, about a 1 level advantage for ProBUs, but it looks like we're going to have a gentleman's split, Jay. Neither side contesting the other, both teams simply content to channel their own objective.
Yeah, how courteous of both of these teams, you know, and neither one very close to level 10. Neither team having a massive advantage in stall ability. I would say the team fighting's been going well for ProBUs Strikes Back, but you know, most of those kills feel like they're on ganks right now, so I haven't really tested their mettle as far as a 5v5 team fight much yet.
Yeah, you're right, but I will say both Death Omen for Team Banshee and Hirobi for ProBUs have been doing a really nice job of sending out a lot of poke damage on Gul'dan and Li Ming.
Yeah, that's what mages do, man. That's kind of the name of the game, and they are living up to it right now. We're gonna see Gazlo coming down to the mid lane, gonna catch the rest of the soak. As not only have oh, look out, gank on the bottom side. Digital Legacy just barely dodges the root, and he's gonna make it out here. And look at the flank on the other side. Hirobi gets the combo to finish off Gul'dan. Now the avalanche in. Hirobi getting another good combo there, and the resets are going to come out, and that's going to be 2 more dead. 3 for nothing there on the failed gank from Team Banshee, and then the counter gank for the ProBUs Strikes Back.
It was a failed gank because Digital Legacy was in a pretty poor position. He overstepped, but he had his Oprah medallion, Jay, and so he simply pressed that, survived, and baited the other team into a triple kill. So it's a good thing we all have our everybody gets a cleanse button, and it allowed a counter triple kill there for ProBUs.
As an assassin player, that is my least favorite thing that Blizzard has added to the game in a very long time. Please, Blizzard, take it back.
If you couldn't tell from the disdain dripping from my voice, he is...
As a main tank player, yes, I understand. We will see the Grabo, though, into the scroll of ceiling, into the 4-man mosh pit. MB taking them on a dance party here, but they survive on the other side. Not enough single target damage. A little bit too spread. Lucio dealing with that brilliantly, but it is a 1-for-1 right now as they're trying to push in here. But look at the resets coming in for Li Ming. Hirobi gonna pop off here and get 3, make it 4 kills to finish this off as a full team ace for the ProBUs Strikes Back.
I do not know how Banshee did not get kills on that. They had an excellent mosh pit, an excellent stay a while, a great horrify, a nice Gazlo grav bomb in the middle of all of that. And I would have to go back and watch the replay, but I would hazard a guess that maybe they weren't all focusing the same target, would be my guess. Because they did everything right, Jay, except for actually securing those kills.
Well, yeah, and that's not really what their comp is geared towards doing, Mongoose. You know, Cassia deals a lot of AoE damage. Of course, Gul'dan is the god of AoE damage, and Gazlo even doesn't really have a good single target base, but look out, Gul'dan gonna get hit here and blown up. Ouch!
Tino's doing a really nice job on this Mei with a great avalanche. We actually haven't really gone over the heroics, so here's a good chance to do it. It is sound barrier for Lucio, a wave of force for Li Ming, curse bullet for Greymane, avalanche as we've seen a couple times now from Mei, and adaptation actually from Dahaka instead of the isolation.
Team Banshee picking up the mosh pit, stay a while and listen, ball lightning, horrify, and the Gravo bomb. And it looks like none of the heroics are going to get burned on this single altar phase. Good zoning from the ProBUs Strikes Back as they'll pick up another cap and assume a 12-point lead here in this matchup.
And there's the stay a while. Only catches Lucio. Can they get him? There's the Gravo bomb on top of it. Love it. They've got to finish this kill, Jay! And they do. It's actually on a Greymane. I thought it was Lucio, but either way. There's 1 down, 2 down for ProBUs, and Banshee probably having their high point of the game thus far with an unanswered double kill.
Yeah, that's a 4v5 that they get the double kill in. Very well done, but it is worth noting that Dahaka is still getting the soak as they get closer to level 16 here for the ProBUs Strikes Back.
Yeah, Gazlo now branching off to his best to respond to that. Li Ming actually almost snipes a Gul'dan with the flanking orbs.
Yep. Yeah, this is full teleport build right now. You still take that level 4 talent now for the reduction on the orb cooldown, so you can have that constant poke in the build. Makes them a little bit more susceptible to getting bursted down themselves. So the timing for when you go in with that Calamity is really paramount. But we'll have to see if 16, if we decide to go a little bit more poke damage with either the orb or the missiles or that diamond skin. Nope, it is indeed going to be the extra 2 missiles here.
Gul'dan caught a little bit out. Amtino throwing out the slows. I don't know if that was the Oprah medallion or something else, but Unstoppable did go out on a Gul'dan to make sure he got out safely. Aggressive positioning by both Amtino and ETC, leading to kind of a split fight, and they have Gul'dan caught here. Avalanche missed. Root does not, though, and I don't think it's going to matter. Stay a while, used defensively. Li Ming gets the reset anyway, and a very staggered fight, but both offlaners are channeling the altars in the meantime, Jay.
Oh, Hirobi just barely misses the missiles on the backside. And it looks like he's going to live. There is the wave of force to interrupt the mosh pit, though. Going to allow them to maybe back up. Sound barrier, do they go back in? No, they're going to go ahead and back up and leave. And that's going to be, I believe, was that the triple altar? I was paying so much attention to the team fight, I didn't even notice.
I think it was double, both top, and I think they split. I believe, because both Gazlo and Dahaka were channeling at the exact same time in the top 2.
Yeah, either way, 16-point lead now for the ProBUs Strikes Back. You mentioned that it's never really over here. Level 16 in here soon for Team Banshee. They've really got to find something here in this window. Actually, on the flank is Gazlo with that Grabo Bomb, but it only hits May. Amtino backing up, big damage onto MBB424.
That's really unfortunate by Banshee. That was a lot of resources they used. It was actually a really good flank by Gazlo. He just unfortunately only caught May in the Gravel Bomb, and she doesn't really care about that. If he would have caught anybody else in that thing, I think good things would have happened there for Banshee. But speaking of caught, is Gazlo in trouble? Nice stun, catches 3. He does eat a lot of Ming damage, but able to waddle his way to safety.
Meanwhile, down bot, maybe a little bit of an over-rotation for the ProBUs Strikes Back, is now Team Banshee going to try and take advantage. They get about half the health off of that keep, and now they're going to back out because certainly this rotation is coming with multiple members missing, but it is all 5 here, and Gazlo is in the top. Meanwhile, Avalanche coming out once again on the Gul'dan, Death Omen, in all kinds of trouble on the backside. He's going to go down, proccing that first reset here for Hirobi. The mosh pit does come out, and it catches Li Ming. No wave of force to be able to interrupt it here, Mongoose. Big damage in return, though.
Oh my goodness, huge Gravel Bomb. I think that was 4J, and it leads to Lucio going down, and a 1-4-1. ProBUs health bars look to be a little bit lower. Greymane going down. Amtino forced to ice skate his way to safety. Hirobi may be in trouble, has the teleport to get himself out, and I think this is going to be a double altar cap for Team Banshee. A nice counter engagement because the Avalanche peeled out that Gul'dan, but a huge 4-man Gravo really saved the day there for Banshee.
Badger Lord, oh, look out. May getting very low. Trait comes out. We'll be able to back out, looks like, before going down. But worth noting, Badger Lord on the Dahaka was able to get that top altar. So they get one of those 2 shots despite the team fight win for Team Banshee.
But Banshee's showing signs of life here because the early part of this game was kind of all ProBUs, and they've been in control, but a couple of real nice flashes from Banshee shows you that this is not an over game by any stretch of the imagination.
Meanwhile, the ProBUs Strikes Back, trying to grab their camp on the bottom side, trying to deal some damage. Digital Legacy actually does jump in there with that Dark Flight, and then will they find him in time to get this camp? No, they're able to cap it on the backside, but Badger Lord is on the flank, trying to find a tongue. Still kind of hanging around back here as Jaren's going to rotate down to make this a 5v5.
ETC took so much damage trying to zone away ProBUs. He ate a Cursed Bullet. There's the bomb again. Goes on to Antino, who has his Unstoppable up, and it saves him from a Horrify and certain death from the Gas Bomb. Nobody going down yet, but a lot of low health bars.
Yeah, the bell tower is picked up here for the ProBUs Strikes Back, and they are able to survive that. They've got level 20s at about half a level. It's not going to be in time for this altar, though, Mongoose.
Yeah, that was really interesting posturing from both sides, with ETC on the side of Team Banshee and Dahaka on the side of ProBUs. Both of them kind of out on an island, isolating out, and neither one died, but it was close. Tino is out really far forward, goes in very deep, does avalanche out Gazlo this time. ETC over there to peel. He does use a mosh pit. It only catches one. It's Digital Legacy going in, instantly interrupted. Health bar's low again. There's the sound barrier. This battle is all over the place.
Yeah, down bot to Haka, trying to cause havoc on the backside. Tino very low, trying to posture in and out to still get the effect on the team fight without dying, but it's Cassie on the backside lives somehow, now trying to turn around, but ends up falling. And just like that, it's 2 members down for Team Banshee. They were so close to getting those kills again, Mongoose.
That fight was as close as can be, and I was kind of... I prefer isolation when I play Dahaka, but I will tell you, the way these fights have been going, adaptation was 100% the right call. They've gotten so much value out of that extra health bar. And we saw it right there as well.
Roby gonna get the kill on Gazlo, and that's pretty much gonna do it here, as the boss will be the last 4 shots going over to the core, and the ProBUs strikes back, getting a win here in game number 1 on Towers of Doom.
Yeah, really, really fun game. I know the kills and the core health looked a little bit one-sided, but I watching that game, that was closer than the scoreboard would indicate, I think.
Yeah, the team fights were incredibly close. Just a little bit more or less health, sometimes as close as the 4% being the difference, I think, in this exchange. So, definitely close. Definitely looking forward to seeing what Team Banshee's got for us in game number 2. And of course, my screen went to 0 stats, so feel free to tell us what the stats are, Mongoose.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will do one better. I will snip it and send it to you, and if you feel like putting it up, you can.
Ooh,
but,
fancy.
Look at that. Fancy schmancy. I will say, though, the way those team fights were going, if ProBUs had any mage other than Li Ming, I think that's like a 50-50 game. Every time those team fights, which were so close, Li Ming got her one reset, and it really, really rolled.
Yeah, and of course the wave of forces were really on point as well, kind of disabling the value of a lot of those mosh pits. But one thing that I really liked was Badger Lord on the flank several times, just being a menace on the back line, causing so much havoc and just making it difficult for them to really do anything in a lot of these team fights on the backside for Team Banshee.
Yeah, absolutely, because they had a solo frontline ETC. He can only be in one place at a time. He can only deal with Mei, or he can only deal with the Haka. He can't deal with both. That's one of the weaknesses of having a Gazlo in that bruiser role. If you had like a Leo in the bruiser role, or like a Blaze, there's some soft CC and some things you can do to keep Dahaka back. But with Gazlo in that spot, it does kind of leave that flank a little bit open.
Well, there are the stats. Thank you very much. That was a good quick recovery move there, as we do see a pretty solid healing from both sides here. I do think those sound barriers a lot of times were definitely a factor to be looked at, but hard to ignore the 72k damage from Hirobi, 8-0. I would have to, and I might be a little biased as a Li Ming main, but I'd give Hirobi the MVP for this one.
See, I'll show my tank bias there. The avalanches by Tino to really set up those fights were really good. But beyond an individual player, I actually think the kind of set the table moment for that game was the 2 rotations onto Gazlo in the mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
Really set ProBUs up for success in the mid to late game, taking advantage of the map with the global on the Dahaka and no Gazlo to respond. It really gave them a leg up in the early experience, and also early altar, core health from the altar shots.
Well, and that's one of the best things about Heroes of the Storm, is it's not a single player game. It's a team oriented game, and you can definitely tell that the ProBUs Strikes Back had a plan. They executed it several times very well, and that's what led to them winning this game. There's really not much else to focus on other than that main fact that they played their comp and they executed well. Alrighty, well, let's take a quick break while we set up here for game number 2. We'll be back with the draft for game number 2 here in this Division D East series. Alrighty, we are back here for game number 2 as we head on off to Infernal Shrines. This was the map pick for the ProBUs Strikes Back. Team Banshee selecting first pick here for this game number 2.
I expected game 3, honestly, because I thought that match was... It displayed to me that these teams are very, very close in skill level, so I would be surprised if we didn't, at minimum, get an excellent game 2 and probably a game 3.
Right. And this, of course, a very macro-oriented map, much like what we just saw on Towers of Doom. The rotations and really the decisiveness of those rotations can be very big. So I almost wonder if maybe Team Banshee wants to look to either pick or ban away the Lucio to kind of try to slow down ProBUs Strikes Back a little bit on their rotation game.
Yeah, maybe. The other adjustment, when you're in a team and you're talking about that first game, if I'm the side of God, why am I blanking? Well, there's the ProBUs ban, but not from Banshee. If I'm the side of Banshee, I'm talking about communicating the whereabouts of ProBUs during the game. I think that should be their focus. Really, you shouldn't ever be ideally caught off guard. Those calls need to be made. In particular when the tank goes missing, because a lot of ganks are reliant on the tank to set it up, right? So that needs to be the focus. I think Banshee is communicating the whereabouts of ProBUs.
Diva and Rainer are going to be banned out here for Team Banshee, and then Gazlo going to be thrown out. So the ProBUs Strikes Back not wanting to see any more of those flanking Gravo bombs coming out from Team Banshee.
It's understandable. The Gazlo was definitely a factor, and the team fights that Banshee was successful in was definitely on the back of Gazlo being impactful. I think he's in a very strong place in the game right now generally, and Shrines in particular, where you have to fight over some place where you can set up those turrets. I really like the Gaz ban.
Johanna going to be the first pick here. Of course, really good wave clear mage, and just in general, able to control these points pretty well. Yeah, she's a good point control hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Two more picks coming up for the ProBUs Strikes Back. They're going to go back to the May once again for Amtino, and Kuromi coming out for Hirobi, a hero that used to be a little bit of a niche pick specifically here on Infernal Shrines. Now she's a little bit more versatile, can play on pretty much any map, but this was kind of the original home where you'd want to get a Kuromi.
Yeah, and I love that combination, actually, of May and Chromie. It's so much choke control. I really think that Banshee needs to make sure they kind of get there first. They don't want Chromie getting onto the point and setting up the little time traps or the slowing sands. They don't want May set up and then they're waiting. That's really when May excels, is when the other team kind of has to force into her. So I really like those two picks from ProBUs.
Yeah, Tassadar Deckard now coming out from Team Banshee. So, Deckard also kind of likes to get to the point and set up a little bit early. Tassadar bringing a lot of that wave clear that can help clear these shrines pretty quickly, not to mention some good burst damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the Sonya as a good ban too, because she's one of those heroes that can kind of break past that control chokes with the leap. She's really good at cleaning out the shrine monkeys. But on the flip side, Banshee has three heroes that are all really good into the Shrine Monkeys. I think an underrated part of a composition on Infernal Shrines is you have these fights that are happening over the objective with the Shrine Monkeys, and I think if you have a lot of incidental damage where you can kind of be picking up the monkeys without really trying during a fight is actually pretty powerful, and both Johanna and Tassadar kind of have that.
Yeah, even Deckard with the Scroll of Sealing, he can get a little bit extra value from that. It's not going to get you a lot of Shrine Monkeys, but everything helps on these objective fights.
Yeah, for sure. So now we're going to see exactly what ProBUs has in mind here as they pick up Brightwing and a Greymane. So more area control with the Brightwing, and right back to the Greymane, which they had success on in Game 1. Great on both Shrine Clear and Camp Clear.
Yeah, for Digital Legacy, that Greymane brings the finishing power that you're really lacking with the Chromie. Chromie will poke out and get through 90% of somebody's health bar. You need somebody to go get that last 10%, and Greymane's pretty ideal for that.
Going to the Cassian, kind of a Zool. That's a little bit of an old school move. I don't know if you remember when Zool first came out on Infernal Shrines, kind of the move was you let Zool double soak. At the time, there really weren't as many heroes that could double soak with him, but you would kind of give the first objective, and Zool was so good at double soaking that Zool by himself would actually get more value in the double soak than the original first objective would. So it will be interesting to see how they play that, especially with kind of both Dahaka and Zool providing map pressure in different ways, how these two teams try to leverage that out over the course of the game.
Yeah, I think the Dahaka pick, though, is going to give a little bit better team fight to the ProBUs Strikes Back. Of course, Zool, a better team fighter than he was back in those days, so can still come in on the flank and deal a lot of damage in these team fights, but ultimately, I think I like ProBUs' draft a little bit more here.
Yeah, I do too. I think what ProBUs has is a little bit more straightforward. It's a little easier to pull off, so they have more room for error. The comp for Banshee is good as well. I just think it's a little bit more nuanced, so it's just a little easier to make mistakes with it.
Yeah, the phrase we often overuse is burden of execution. And that puts it on the shoulders of Team Banshee. You know, that sometimes you like to have that extra burden of execution, because if you can pull it off, it gives you the edge. And then at that point, when your backs are against the wall like this, you kind of like to have that control in your hand.
Yeah, and I think Jaren on Zool in particular, he has to walk into May and Chromie slowing sands. And a Poly, if he doesn't pick his moment just right to try to pull that off, he could be in a real rough spot.
Alrighty, well, let's get into it here. Game number 2, Infernal Shrines. On the left, we've got the ProBUs Strikes Back. We've got Digital Legacy back again on that Greymane. Hirobi going to be on the Chromie. Tino going to be on the May. Desaad on the Brightwing. And up top, we've got Badger Lord on the Dahaka.
And the red team trying to force out a game number 3, Team Banshee. Johanna, played by MBB424. Tassadar, played by Death Omen. Zool, played by Jaren173. Cassia, by Lunatics71. And Zaggy will be on the Deckard.
Immediately, both solo laners up top. Once again, not wasting any time in the mid. You almost like to see that from a Dahaka to come mid and get those, get that essence early. But look at the Fend coming in nice and early. Big damage from Team Banshee.
Yeah, the wall set up the CC by Deckard, and Greymane had to pop his Oprah medallion very early this game.
Well, looks like Team Banshee looking to try to win the rotation game. A good wave clear from the ProBUs Strikes Back as they're able to clear up the lane and get back up to mid a little quicker here. Now Jaron is in the mid, taking a lot of poke from Hirobi there, getting sand blasted early.
Yeah, once again, I think camps here a little more prioritized for the side of ProBUs Strikes Back, although the neutral camp is picked up, by Team Banshee.
Hold on, wait for it.
Yeah. They stepped off for like just a half a second. So they're letting Zool double soak here while the 4-man are worrying about the bottom in the camps. And Tino trying to force in, but Zool is here. This is actually a 5v4 in favor of Banshee. Now here comes Dahaka though.
Oh, he's already dipped though. He's in.
He is in, and I think a miscommunication there because the rest of ProBUs actually wasn't there initially. A big condemn catches a few blue health bars, super low, and Banshee is able to force back ProBUs. And I think that was a little bit of a miscommunication there because it looked like his teammates decided to bail out when Mtino took so much damage. But Dahaka was already committed, so they kind of re-engaged and left a small victory there for Team Banshee.
Yeah, they are able to secure that second camp, which should give them an edge in the XP, but it looks like over on the side of the ProBUs Strikes Back, Badger Lord doing a nice job of kind of making up for that so far here in this double soak.
Oh, that Chromie poke is so unreal.
It's nasty.
It's so bad. And this is the point in the game that I really want Banshee to get to the point first if they can. Although she doesn't have slowing sands yet, so it's a little bit less important. But you know, a good habit to develop as well. But they are here. Jaren taking a lot of damage.
Living on the edge, man.
Yeah, for real.
This is like, oh my god. This is like
40 health.
Owl one-shot territory, you know. If Toronto was on the other side, like, you'd have to constantly be watching the minimap to make sure that Owl wasn't coming to snipe you.
And I'm worried about this for Team Banshee because they are going to be very, very late.
Yeah.
A lot of Shrine Monkeys already picked up by ProBUs here. Zool obviously had to herf back. I mean, they're going to be at 30 almost before Zool and Cassia arrive. I mean, it might even be over before they arrive, honestly.
Yeah, I think it is. There's not a whole lot that they can do. Meanwhile, time trap into the damage there onto Death Omen. And so we'll see the Arcane Punisher popping out here early for the ProBUs Strikes Back, pushing in the bottom lane. Top lane is going to be pressured a little bit by this camp, but Dahaka waddling his way on up to deal with that.
So Johanna catches the Punisher. One of my pet peeves in this game is when more than one person catches the Punisher for no good reason, so real nice job by Banshee there. Although don't make my word, he's going to jump again right now.
Front wall acquired there for the ProBUs Strikes Back. That's kind of the minimum of what you want to make sure to get on that Punisher, but still, that's a very good defense from Team Banshee.
Very clean play by Banshee. They actually sent their mercenary squad up before that objective at the right time. I think they just underestimated, honestly, how long it would take Zool and Cassia to get that merc. And by the time they realized it, it was kind of over. But I appreciate the fact that they didn't go in there and fight down. They just kind of, you know, took their loss and had a good solid defense. And you look at the scoreboard, and that first objective kind of meant basically nothing. They're, you know, a quarter of a level down. It really ended up being kind of a non-factor.
Right, yeah, it's really just not worth the risk. But now, for
Love
the side, yeah, now they're looking at the invade. And they've got Johanna on the point here. Yeah, this is a good zoning job. Mtino maybe working his way back, but ends up not getting on the point here. So that is the steal. Badger Lord does dig in, is on the flank, and now this is a full 5v5. Rewind. Gonna be able to take down Deckard here as the first kill goes to the ProBUs Strikes Back. They'll pick up the Cassia, and that is a double kill to start off the kill counter here for the ProBUs Strikes Back.
Yeah, what I liked that ProBUs did there is they were on the same page. The call was, forget the camp, let's kill these guys, and everybody was on board with it. They really didn't care that they didn't get the camp because they got the kills instead. And I just kind of assumed on Infernal Shrines that ProBUs would go with Slowing Sands, but as we saw there, no sir, picking up the kill with the loop-de-loop.
Yeah, Temporal Loop is an interesting place right now with the introduction of the Gladiators medallion, because you can
medallion.
Yeah, you can just get rid of that, but again, you know, it's a relatively low cooldown compared to the Gladiators medallion. So if you're hitting the same target, like say a Tassadar over and over and over again, and the other team doesn't have a cleanse to supplement the medallion, it can still get some pretty good value.
Yeah, absolutely. And as much as I loathe those medallions, they do have a very long cooldown, and there is value in simply eating up one of those 5-minute cooldowns with something as relatively low cooldown as Temporal Loop. I think a Temporal Loop is like a 60-second cooldown, something like that. I'm gonna look. 50-second cooldown, yeah. So it's
60 mana. That's what I was looking at. Meanwhile,
however,
look
Zool
out!
running for his life. 6J.
Wow.
The number was 6.
Yeah, meanwhile, now the rotation is in here onto Badger Lord, and he's going to end up going down here. Big flank, big gank from Team Banshee. So not only does Zolt survive, but now they'll have an advantage going into this objective.
6 hit points.
I mean, that often, I feel like, has been kind of on scale with the difference between these two teams and how they've been playing today. So I'm not really shocked, but I'm just kind of amazed.
Yeah, but you know, assuming Dahaka has dig going up, it's really not going to mean anything up with the death timers at this point.
Yeah, there it is.
He's burrowing literally right here, and Jaren in trouble. Tongued, chromied, does get the shield out, stays good for a second, but not too much longer. There's the blessed shield. There's the stay a while, but Team Banshee needs to get out of here with the Zool gone. They're fighting down in numbers, and unfortunately, I think the second objective is going to go to ProBUs here.
Yeah, that's a big pick onto the Zul before he can get out his Poison Nova and before the members of Team Banshee can really get advantage of what they do in team fights, which is good point control. So we'll have to see how they can defend here. As they grab that top camp, they will have some counter pressure, but Badger Lord already rotating to deal with it.
Yeah, and tip of the hat to Hirobi and Badger Lord, because that was really those two guys that communicated and focused the kill onto the Zul. The burrow came in right as Chromie was dumping all of her damage onto Zul, and once the Chromie damage came in, followed by the Zul tongue, or the Dahaka tongue, I should say, that was pretty much that.
Meanwhile, all 5 members here in defense. Jaren had gone down to the bottom lane to get one pile worth of soak there. But ultimately comes back to the mid. And again, no fort here, as the ProBUs strikes back, not really able to fully capitalize on these objectives with the counter pressure that Team Banshee has.
Yeah, and actually, this is something I think both games, I think ProBUs has been a little bit cleaner on, and probably partially at least because of the Dahaka in both games, they've been a little bit better about mopping up as much experience as they can.
Yeah. And they've also been pretty good at prioritizing when to be in these fights and when to not. You can really make that argument about both squads right now, playing good macro map presence and good team fight calling overall on when to just walk away.
Yeah, and that's something you can kind of do with the Dahaka. You get an objective, you realize the other team is 5-man defending, you go, okay, well, let's send Dahaka somewhere else, and we don't hard commit to this. And then you in that same situation, you realize the other team's Zul is in another lane. Uh-oh, Jay.
Yeah, look out. There's the Gladiator Medallion, but it's not enough to save him from the Chromie. That's going to be Tassadar falling. Very nice bush gank. They even had Badger Lord come down. I don't think really needed him, but he was there on the call. He followed it.
Yeah, that's just one of those things, a little Johanna flashlight into the bush there would have done wonders. But ProBUs kind of flipped the script on him, throw him a change up. That's not something they've been doing this series, so I think they kind of caught him off guard with that. It's just not something they've shown to be in their toolbox thus far.
No one expects the bush gank at this point in a series if you haven't been seeing it a lot. But you're right. You gotta always check those bushes, man. It's just a good idea.
Yep, especially Johanna has maybe the best tool in the game with which to do it.
Sure.
But yeah, what I was saying is, and in that same situation, you realize Zul is in another lane, then you keep Dahaka in lane and you take the 5v4. Having a global that the other team doesn't really allows you to kind of dictate the flow of the map in a way that is difficult to respond to if it's done correctly.
Yeah, you just counter what the enemy team's doing, just plain and simple. Level 16 is going to be coming in here soon for the ProBUs Strikes Back. They've still got a little more than that level lead. Trine popping in the top lane, so both teams do still have their forts and their wells up there. No major advantage for this objective in terms of structural, but if they can get level 16 for the ProBUs Strikes Back, that'll be the advantage they're looking to exploit for the Shrine.
Yeah, and I as Jaren might be in trouble here, Tino coming in on the flank, he does get all the ProBUs lows. There is, the avalanche missed, but the temporal loop does not perfectly time the tongue.
Nice.
Yeah, it just does not take much. And now if you're Banshee, this is kind of over. You have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, level 16s are now here. As if that wasn't bad enough, you don't have the full 5-man here. And yeah, this is going to be a third straight Punisher going over to the side of the ProBUs Strikes Back.
Yeah, and just great timing, good CC chains for ProBUs. Now they have 16s, and they're really in the driver's seat in this game. I love grabbing this camp. This is a denial, because if ProBUs gets this objective, waltzes through that, they're going to pick up this camp at some point, either on the way in or on the way out. So grabbing it now makes it so ProBUs can't leverage their 16s into a free camp.
I love the macro. Look at these time traps from Hirobi. Just covering every single one of these bushes. Yep. Not because they think that anyone's coming in, but just in case. Poison Nova coming out a little bit early there. They thought they had some sort of engage, I think, for Team Banshee, but ultimately they're going to have to back up here. Mortar Punisher, not really something you want to fight under.
No, but they see Dahaka in the mid lane, and I think they're thinking this might be as good as we get right now. But I agree with you, especially with Iron Skin being popped. There's the Ober Medallion for Johanna. Johanna's too low to hang out in here. Fort does go down. Dahaka does make a brief cameo here. But ProBUs, they got what they wanted. They've got all 3 of the forts down. About a level and a third-ish lead here, and really controlling the game.
And now they can leverage the rest of the 16 talent tier advantage to grab all of these camps. Quickly rotating out to grab all 3 of the mid and bot, these siege camps, and then maybe can look to try and push somewhere here on the map. They've got a lot of pressure heading into the bot lane, that's for sure.
And I love this from, I think MB saw Mtino though, yeah.
Yeah.
If Mtino was like a second earlier, he would have been in that bush waiting. But hopefully that puts kind of the radar up for Team Banshee to be keeping a lookout for those.
Yeah, they had one bush gank that caught them out earlier. Now you see them going in, attempting a second one.
Look at Jaren in the top lane.
Uh-oh.
He's way too far out. He is in a world of trouble.
Now there's the poly. After that big cursed bullet, the tongue will be enough to finish it off with the chromie damage. And that is a 6th kill here in this matchup for the ProBUs Strikes Back. Not a whole lot of team fighting, Mongoose. Just a lot of back and forth, a lot of picks.
Well, yeah, and there have been a couple of timely picks, but also, like, when these team fights are happening, ProBUs Strikes Back is getting a kill or 2, and Banshee is doing a nice job of just leaving. They're not trying to compound it, so as a result, these kill totals are staying a little bit low, you know?
Right, but that also keeps them in the game. You know, this game
Absolutely.
could already be over if they hadn't done that. So, you know, they're definitely
For
making
sure.
the right call, yeah.
Yeah, and even though that pick on Zool is unfortunate, you know, if this next objective comes up pre-20, it ends up being not that big a deal. But I want to see Banshee fight this here. This is a fight they have to fight right here.
Yeah, they still don't have level 20 for ProBUs Strikes Back, so they have an opportunity. We will see the zoning come out, and Mtino gonna just back on up. Oh, but look at the damage on a Death Omen. Hirobi with the goodbye kiss there.
That the slow on the W for Chromie is just so wicked.
It's obnoxious is what it is.
Yes, it is. 2 teams posturing.
Yeah.
It looks like they're willing to give them this fight. This is the pre-20 fight you want if you're Banshee.
I don't know, they keep backing up. They're almost look like they're trying to kite them back far enough that maybe they can find something, but...
I run at this camp right now if you're Banshee. This is the pre-20 fight. Like, literally right now, you run at this thing.
Yep, and they see Mtino. They know that they're here. They're going to look to see if they can get the gank onto Mtino, but then look at the 5-man snowball. No, thank you. We would rather get 20 and then fight you.
Wow, Mtino. Oh my goodness, that is the best avalanche that I have seen where the end result of it is nothing.
Right, yeah, that's the best zoning avalanche I've ever seen, for sure.
And now 20s are here, top pressure in lane for ProBUs. You know, frankly, I think Banshee needs to fight this anyway. I know they're in a rough spot, but they cannot keep conceding objectives. There's the big stay a while, catches 5J. Greymane goes down, Brightwing goes down to that ball lightning bouncing around. Mtino in the back line does not care. He will probably go down here shortly, and he will. Yes, he does. Oh my goodness. Now they do need to send somebody back like right now. Looks like Zool is going back to try to save that top keep. But that stay a while by Zagi.
And how many times did Team Banshee just have to kill Badger Lord on the Haka? It felt like maybe 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, that's that adaptation there. Jaren, the awareness to get back in time and hopefully save this keep.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Wait, what?
They're there. They got it.
Orobi?
He's gonna loop in. He's gonna loop in.
Orobi? Yeah, there's the loop. Gonna look to try to counter there with the Bone Prism, but the time out. Orobi gonna try to steal this away, but wait a minute. Gets on the point. And now Hirobi's in trouble. Look at the hammers coming out. Assad gonna have to teleport in to save their mage.
And that's unfortunate too. Nice play by Hirobi, but now they can't push with the Punisher, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I think I think well, there's not really much you can do there, you know, unless you have your Gladiator's Medallion available. Once you get looped, you're stuck in there. You almost just have to fight the Chromie and do your best.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that the answer there is not being there.
Right. Yeah, just as 5, or
I mean, you don't really
doing the side soak thing.
Yeah, because I mean, Zool could have helped clear the monkeys. You clean it if you clear the objective faster once he defends on top. You clear it faster. That gives you more time with the objective that the other team is dead too, right?
Right.
Makes
sense.
But regardless, 7 kills to 5, level 20 to level 21. Team Banshee does have all of their keeps up. They do have some. They've stabilized the map because ProBUs has been controlling the map all game, but it's pretty 50-50 right now. So that big ace there by Banshee has completely rebalanced this game, I'm going to say.
Yeah, still the definite structure advantage, but look at Team Banshee. They're going to roll here into the bot lane and finish off this bottom fort that they couldn't get with that objective. I almost would have liked to have seen the ProBUs strikes back rotating to the top keep in response to that.
I thought that too, but they were way on their side of the map. I think that would have been a pretty tall ask. Because they were like all the way almost by their fort in the top lane, clearing out mercs.
Yeah. Would have had to have recognized it early. Like maybe as soon as the camp had pinged.
Yep, something like that, I agree.
Yeah.
Although, it's party time again, Jay.
Yeah.
Both sides, party time.
But both sides are kind of bush ganking a little bit here, near each other. Do they go after Jaren? The bait in.
Stay a while.
Meanwhile, the tongue does come out from Badgerlord onto Jaren. Out comes the stay a while and listen. Snowball throwing a couple members straight into the backside. Hirobi getting low there from the poke from Cassia, but is able to back out. May and Greymane the first to fall as here comes Team Banshee. Don't call it a comeback yet, Mongoose, but that's a 3-for-0 exchange.
The stay a while, they have found the key to their success. They have Zagi hide in the bushes and hit a huge stay a while. I actually just assumed he went the level 20 upgrade, but he didn't. If he did, those big stay a whiles would be even more brutal.
Yeah, they're going to try and see if they can get a bottom keep here with this 30 or so seconds that they still have everybody down. But they've got to commit to it here. They are they're taking their time rotating here.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I like that they have Zool in the mid lane, though, because he's prepping that lane for objective, and that's what I want to see there. That's really well done. Tongue does land on a Tadahaka.
That's a rewind. Oh, so close! No, Tassadar goes down.
The double time loop.
Yep. Stuck in the loop.
And that's so rough because Banshee worked so hard to get to this point, and then also they're losing top keep for free. It's going to go down right now to a catapult.
Yeah, that's definitely a rough moment. They again, they're so I think they're so committed to having that Zol split out that they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot here a little bit. If they've got Zol to clear out that bottom lane and push in, maybe they get the front wall. Or if everybody pushes mid, maybe they get the fort quickly and don't lose somebody, and then can maybe even get a front wall for the keep to try and push in with this objective. But, you know,
And now that death on the Tassadar means that, once again, objective, I think this is 4 out of 5, I want to say now, are going over to ProBUs.
Right. Yeah, they didn't get that last one, but, you know, again, Team Banshee didn't really get the opportunity to do a lot with even that objective because of that split strategy just kind of not doing it for them right now.
Yeah, and I think it's been at least 2, possibly 3, Jay, objectives where Banshee hasn't even been able to contest it. They just had to give it up from square one because of an unfortunate timing on a death, and this is a minute 22 Punisher. This is going to be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and we don't want to take anything away from what the ProBUs Strikes Back is doing. They're doing a great job executing these picks As we do see the stuck in the loop again. This time it's on Zool, and he's going to go down here as the stay a while and listen going to kind of halt the advance for the moment. But the Punisher is on the backside trying to deal some damage. They've also got pressure on the... Oh, look out. Tassadar is going to go down there after a big avalanche into that polymorph.
Well, and that's going to be game 2, and the domination certainly going over to ProBUs Strikes Back. Team Banshee found something there. ProBUs didn't have an answer for the big stay a while, but we saw it a little bit more. Banshee didn't have an answer for that temporal loop. He got a lot of value out of that temporal loop this game too, Mr. J.
He sure did, and that is going to be the core falling here on Infernal Shrines, and the domination going over to the ProBUs Strikes Back. See if maybe we can get some stats this time around. Oh, I got to turn off the logo. There we go.
Did you get him?
Nope. Bunch of zeros once again.
What
is this?
I got you, baby.
Oh, man. Well, while you do that, I am going to reach out to the team captain for the ProBUs Strikes Back, see if we can get a quick interview in with them.
Yeah, man, the way those stay-a-whiles were going at the end, I was wondering, it started to smell like comeback a little bit there for sure.
Well, there we go. 11-8 in the kill count. Once again, kind of showing in the stat sheet a little bit more this time how evenly matched these two teams were. But just the ProBUs Strikes Back, just edging Team Banshee out, I think, a little bit in execution overall. I think that was really the big difference here in game number 2. But clearly these two teams are pretty evenly matched in skill, for sure.
Yeah, I think the two differences, I would say, were number one, I think ProBUs was a little better at making sure they vacuumed up as much XP as they can, I think partially as a result of having the Dahaka. But if you watch this cast back, there were a number of times where Banshee would win a team fight and they would get these opportunities, and you could kind of hear in both of them as we were questioning if they were leveraging the best reward for their team fight win out of that opportunity, and we never had that with ProBUs. So I think ProBUs made the most of their opportunities in a way that Banshee didn't quite.
Alright, well, let's jump over to Lobby 1 here in NGS. See if we can get a interview rolling here. Now we will be sending you guys over to the Crushinator here for our next matchup. Thank you very much for the suggestion there, Mongoose.
Absolutely, Crushinator is an excellent caster. It's a C West matchup. Team Rainbow Strike Go, a veteran squad versus Can't Create Acronyms, part of the CCS family.
I think they have my favorite name of all the CCSs so far.
It's not. It's no Kael'thas can't spell.
We are joined here by a couple members of the ProBUs Strikes Back. We've got Emtino and is it Desa?
Desda.
Desda. There we go. I missed a D in there, but thank you very much for joining us. And kind of the tale of two matches here between last night and tonight. It's nice to have you guys back on the stream, this time pulling into the winner's circle at the end.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling right now after that big win over Team Banshee? Two pretty evenly matched teams. Gotta feel good to get a domination.
Yeah, definitely feel a lot better than yesterday. I can tell you that. It was a little rough, but yeah, we're feeling really good today. Feel like we played a lot better than we did yesterday, so feels good.
Yeah, we needed to kind of just get back on track after last night's match, and so after that victory today, we just kind of soaking it in and feeling good about it.
All right, so we go into that game number 1, Towers of Doom. You guys have some really, really good rotational synergy in that game. Tell me a little bit about your guys' comms, like who's doing your shot calling, and how do you guys coordinate those rotations so well?
All you, Em.
So yeah, I'm the shot caller for the team, and we caught Gazlo out a couple of times, or at least we kind of saw it a little early, and we were like, yo, Gaz is rotatable. So we just kind of rotated on him and got him a couple of times, which I think went a long way for that game itself. And then, throughout the game, we caught a couple of, isolation avalanches, and then me and Badger were able to just like stay on their back line like crazy because we had, Burrow and Shield and stuff like that. So I think we just disrupted them enough to play the macro and play the map and just get the picks when we needed.
Yeah, certainly in that game number 1, the core health at the end, I don't think really tells the story of how close a lot of those team fights were. You guys had some really great coordinations, especially with some of the sound barriers to keep you guys alive. They had a lot of damage over on Team Banshee. How are you guys feeling about the team fight aspect?
Well, I remember one fight in that Towers of Doom match that we all kind of like were like, how did we stay alive?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we were all just kind of like, how are we still all alive?
I can tell you
we just
exactly
had like,
which one that was.
yeah, we had a couple of like things that were lined up. Like I remember it was just kind of luck because there were some times that like was it a Deckard? Yeah, I think they caught us in a sleep. But then my stun, that was the May stun, takes a little bit of time to get through, like stunned them right after that. So it kind of like made it to where they couldn't do anything after we were like moshed and slept. So I don't know, there was a couple of fights though with those team fights that it could have gone definitely either way. And luckily we were the ones that came out on top on that.
Yeah, definitely back and forth in game number 1 on the team fights, but then we go into game number 2. And I gotta admit, Mongoose and I were kind of expecting that zoning, slowing sands, you kind of get to cut off these rotations into the shrine points, but then we see time loop coming out. Tell me a little bit about the decision making going into that ultimate.
Hirobi really likes that with the I think it really sets up a lot of kills, so we really just let him choose what's best, I think, for him, and because he's the one that of course knows his character the best, and I think it really helped us, especially when he got the double loop, secure a lot of kills.
Yeah, securing kills throughout the game with that time loop, and
Yeah.
just in general, you guys were able to get picks at the right time, I would say.
Yeah, we got lucky with that, and Hirobi is very vocal when it comes to his loops. So whenever he does catch that loop, we all are aware of it.
All right,
But no,
well,
he's a really good chromie, and when we got that map, he was like already ready to play that. So we let him do his thing.
Yeah, I was going to comment.
Mongoose?
There were at least 2 or 3 times that game where I commented on Hirobi and Badger Lord really being on the same page, where they used the temporal loop to set up the tongue, and Badger Lord is really, I mean, the timing was just pitch perfect. There was no time to do anything. As soon as that temporal loop landed, that tongue was there waiting. So really, really good kind of coordination between those 2 guys.
Yeah, agreed. Like there was like when Badger was kind of going in, he was able to call that out, and I think that was like the reason essentially why we took him on that second game as well, because of how disruptive he was on that first one. And we just thought to ourselves, like, if he can keep doing that, it's really, it's probably throwing them off a lot. So he everybody played great. Badger played an amazing couple of games with Dahaka.
Definitely.
And I don't know. I think Mtino had the best 5-man snowball that ended up with nothing
Oh my God.
happening that I've ever seen.
The disengage.
Yeah, the
heavy
comms.
disengage. I was like, we gotta get 20s. Like, screw this.
Yep.
Yeah, the comms went crazy. We're like, oh my God. Yeah, it was probably one of the best disengages I've ever seen.
All right, so you guys get the big win tonight. This is going to catapult you up to second place here in Division D East. As we're winding down, getting a little bit closer to playoffs, how are you guys feeling in the division, and are there any teams in particular that you're looking forward to going against in the regular season down the stretch?
I can tell you Hot Potato is definitely going to be a scary match. I don't know. They said that they're excited to play us, but I'll be honest, I'm a little scared because I know that they're really good. But I think it's the ones that we have left to play, the teams that we have left to play. I think we definitely have our money. We have we're gonna get a run for our money. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I'm looking at your guys' schedule the rest of the way. Hot Potato, who I think is still undefeated.
Yeah,
Mhm.
10-0. Yeah.
Yeah, Frank Spurters is a veteran squad, and I Must Feed. I know they've been scrimming up because my team has actually scrimmed against them, so they're a solid squad as well. So certainly no gimmies left for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna take each game one by one. Like last night, we obviously it didn't go our way, but we had a really good turnaround on being able to just say like, okay, last night was last night. Let's focus on tonight in this match. And so I think that's sort of how we're gonna just do it from here on out. Is just literally focus on the next match, focus on what we got to do, and we'll see where it goes at the end of the season with playoffs and all that.
All right. Well, Mongoose, did you have any more questions?
Nope. Thanks for the show, guys. Great set.
Well, thank you both.
Yeah. Thank you guys for the cast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming in for the interview. But before I let you go, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Shout out the team, right? Shout out the team, of course. I think everybody played really, really good tonight. Digi, Hirobi, Bachelor, and obviously the Des carry. Yes, shout out to the team, and then obviously shout out to the team Banshee as well, because they played solid on both games, and it's not like they could have gone either way on the first game and the second one. So, and thank you guys for the cast.
Absolutely, it was our pleasure. Really fun set to watch. But yeah, congrats on the win. Thank you very much for coming in for the interview, and I hope you enjoy the win and celebrate tonight with your team.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Alrighty, well, Mongoose, I think that is going to do it for us tonight. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with me, dude. It's always a pleasure to have you on the stream. But before we do go, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to make? Where can people find you nowadays?
Pretty much nowhere. My only shout-out is to Mrs. Mongoose, who tolerates me doing this.
No.
And in order for that to happen, she has to alleviate me of newborn responsibility. So I don't get away to do it much, but when I do, it's because NGS spouses are ridiculous.
Always the shout out to Mrs. Mongoose. What a gal. All right, well, that is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for the follows. Don't forget to hit that follow button and come back for more NGS action if you have not already done so. I also want to shout out the NGS Patreon, so let me play that trailer for you all right quick here. Yeah, I myself had to sign up for that Patreon just the other day, Mongoose, because I definitely want my player card for Season 10. No doubt about it. But be sure to check out all the other rewards they've got going on over there. Mongoose, as I recall, you're in charge of the Patreon stuff.
That is correct, and not just your player card, but for Season 10, we actually commissioned a wallpaper, an NGS Heroes of the Storm wallpaper with Alarak of the Storm. It's amazing. It'll probably be released here within the next week or two, but totally worth the $5 or $3 or whatever you feel like kicking in. The NGS Season 10 patron wallpaper by Alarak of the Storm is freaking awesome.
Nice. It looks like I signed up right at the right time.
Yes, sir, you did.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to send you off to the Crushinator for that Div C West match that they've got going on. Thanks again for coming out. And until next time, I am Jay Zahn, he's Mongoose, and have a good night.